All right, it is December 21st, Monday, 2020. It's currently 9:45 a.m. I'm going to go over POC as I, again, leave the Ontario Museum of History and Art. The ongoing pattern of conduct underway, the state stalking and monitoring using its sirens. After I did reference the traffic cameras about my presence at the museum, obviously, the museum is in relevant positioning. The third parties patrolling in traffic, the state's patrolling and using its sirens overnight, which is visible on the cameras. Oh, crap. And in addition to that, the state engaging in the same conduct this morning, as I am and building or going through my property and whatnot, waking up essentially. The state using their emergency vehicles for the criminal purpose of federal group stalking and monitoring. Again, the state's fake sun object literally parked directly above me at the museum, migrating above as I move in any direction, actually. And as I am at the museum and putting away my property, the state is crossing path using its sirens. It is the exact same criminal conduct, and that's what is seen on the camera. So I'm just going through that. That's what the traffic cameras at Euclid Avenue and Holt Boulevard reflect, and it is based on what I am doing. I'm right there at the museum, and that's what the state is engaged in at that time. I arrive at Stater Brothers at around, I complete my purchase at 9:34 a.m. I'm at Stater Brothers for a total of maybe 15-20 minutes. So I arrive at Stater Brothers at around, I would say about 9:12, 9:15 perhaps, around this time. So I'm leaving the museum at around 9 a.m., I would say. And this is that which is going to be relevant to my arrival as I'm walking. Of course, it's P.O.C. I'm walking down Holt Boulevard. As I walk west on Holt Boulevard, you have the state engaging in ongoing stalking with light and possible light activity as third parties are crossing path, meaning in their vehicles at the same time. This is how you know it is a system. This is how you identify third parties. That's not a coincidence of impossible light activity. That is the system in operation. And in addition to that, you have, as my arrival at the third-party facilitating venue, Stater Brothers Markets at 646 West Holt Boulevard at or around, I would say, 9:10 and 9:15. At the moment that I arrive, I do reference the security cameras and speaking to the ongoing pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. As they are all in relevant position, I just engage in making sure that my presence is known on camera, and that's exactly what I did. With simultaneity to that, the state, that is always stalking by aircraft. What it is doing, because it is monitoring, as I am referencing the security cameras, the state is hovering over the parking lot in a commercial-sized airplane that is white. And it's flying west, and it makes a sharp turn to go in the south direction. So it's basically flying toward me and then makes a sharp turn, remaining in relevant position. So it is essentially flying to cross path, and it as it turns, it is in alignment, flying in the south direction. It is accomplishing the same criminal purpose, and it is that which is occurring with simultaneity to my use of the surveillance cameras at Stater Brothers, speaking to the ongoing pattern of conduct and making known my presence at that venue and the ongoing criminal activity that is visible and providing context to that because I am present, and being aware of all three elements and how you are visibly looking at how those elements are being engaged in by a group that are simultaneously listening to and keeping surrounded by both audible activity and their physical presence in the path. While using the restroom inside of Stater Brothers, third-party facilitating venue, a documented sex offender. All right, Stater Brothers Market as a company is acting with the state, and this is prolonged documentation, all hallmarks. You're talking about police presence. You're talking about stalking by the state directly inside and around this venue on more than one occasion. You're talking about the state stalking with its light directly over this venue, remaining over this venue for the entirety of a day. If I remain at this venue, the state's fake sun remains right over the venue. The ongoing pattern of the state stalking via aircraft, helicopter, and airplane, not just commercial plane, all manner of airplanes, and especially the helicopter activity directly related to Stater Brothers Market. So this is long established third party acting in concert with the state, and this is another day of that ongoing documented conduct and the sexually motivated aspect of that monitoring conduct that employees and patrons alike are engaged in. And while I am in use of the restroom, this is a quote-unquote public space. This is what I.I.S legislation is designed to address. This is what is unknown with regard to the crime and the nature of criminal monitoring when you're using communication devices, and the legal concept of federal group stalking and monitoring. And so what you have are the engagement of the criminal elements of monitoring while the targeted individual, this is while I am inside of the restroom, inside of the venue. I want to note, first of all, since my publishing the criminal conduct of Stater Brothers Markets at this particular venue. And again, Stater Brothers is merely documented as the specific venue where I'm at. They are engaging in the exact same criminal pattern of every other venue and every other third-party individual that is in relevant position to me. They are just a venue that is nearby that I happen to frequent, and that's why they are documented as such. They're not engaging in anything exceptional. They are engaging in the P.O.C. Okay, so I want to be clear on that. What I want to be clear also on is the fact that since I have published my documentation with regard to Stater Brothers in particular being engaged in the criminal act of sexual violence, that is sexual group assault and battery, while they are engaging in the criminal elements in what the third-party patrons do, Stater Brothers does. Stater Brothers is a third-party facilitator acting directly with the state and facilitating criminal conduct by its customers. They are acting all together as they are all group stalkers. They're all third parties, okay? Stater Brothers is enabling its customers to engage in this criminal conduct. So what third-party patrons do is attributed to Stater Brothers. What Stater Brothers does as a third party is attributed to the state, okay? So you have the Stater Brothers engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring while inside of the private space of the restroom. And this is while I am inside, and the use of amplification of audible activity, the ongoing, if you're familiar with Stater Brothers, they have a quote-unquote second floor, if you will, where employees, I am assuming managerial personnel, are positioned, and they are directly above the restroom, by the way. You have them creating activity which is amplified, all right, where the state is engaging in placing its instruments of criminal monitoring, where the state is stalking you directly via aircraft and police, fire and ambulance. There is no coincidence of activity that also happens to be the ways in which you monitor with communication devices. This is Stater Brothers engaging in the P.O.C. And in addition to that, there is no exception or legal excuse from that. You're engaging in that which is facilitating the state's criminal system, and it also happens to be a sexual violation of the targeted individual. That is federal prosecution, period. And this is what is happening while I am in the restroom. Amplification of the hand dryer, and this is heard directly through the wall. Amplification of the what is supposed to be a toilet flushing, heard directly through the wall while I'm physically indisposed, while I'm in use of the bathroom. All right, this is the pattern of conduct. This is the same exact conduct that the state engages in at every venue, including that which is exceedingly impossible to be occurring through solid brick and bulletproof glass and thick metal and concrete. The state engaged in the exact same tactic, hearing it as though it's straight through, as though it's in the bathroom with you, all right, or in the cell at West Valley Detention Center. That this is exactly what the state engages in. This is state action. This is Stater Brothers acting with the state, engaging in monitoring while I am in the bathroom, physically indisposed, using the restroom in a public space. This is that which I.I.S legislation is designed to address. It is a sexual violation. It is a sexually motivated violation of the targeted individual, because the state, and that is Stater Brothers, in the position of the government, monitoring with it while it is operating a criminal system of monitoring with communication devices. Stater Brothers is in the position of the government, violating the person, violating the ordinary sensibilities of the targeted individual while they are monitoring, while in that public space, while its fake sun object is aimed directly on the building, which is within the immediate environment of the targeted individual, while in that public space, while physically indisposed, while they are listening in real time, knowing that you are removing your clothing, knowing that you are using the bathroom, knowing when that your physical genitalia is exposed, okay, this is what is engaged and this is what is involved in the criminal conduct with regard to monitoring while you are in the bathroom. It is sexual violence because, again, the state is monitoring as a group. So you have the entire group, all of them in relevant position, the state included in airplanes, helicopter, the police that are stalkers around in relevant position, ready to sound their sirens at the drop of a dime. This is already documented conduct. So this is sexual violence at an exceptional, unprecedented level. Sexually motivated, as they are aware of what you are doing in that public space, and intentionally creating activity with simultaneity to your movement and activity in that public space, okay? This is the exceedingly perverted and demented aspect. It is demonic activity. It is also criminal monitoring in that private space. And this is what I.I.S. legislation is designed to address. It is what federal legislation that already exists is designed to address, because they are doing so with means of interstate commerce while you're in the bathroom. I have designed federal legislation to specifically address every single criminal and perverted and sexually motivated predatorial tactic such as this engaged in by Stater Brothers, which is not acting alone. Okay, but this is an example of real-time P.O.C. which occurred today, again, as they are continuously documented as a sex offender, and that is the state of California. That is a sex offender, which is another legal, new unfamiliar legal concept, which I am addressing and introducing with regard to what the public entity that is monitoring an American citizen in concert with the people of that state. What I wanted to speak specifically is, ever since I have published documentation about Stater Brothers being a sex offender engaging in criminal monitoring while I'm in its restroom, is the fact that they have changed their bathroom code. And this is not a coincidence either. They are aware of the fact that I'm documenting. This is not the absence of a coincidence that they have made it unavailable to a customer, because that's what I am, where it was formerly available, and you're talking about for over a year now, it has been the same code. And I just want to speak to this. This is relevant documentation. They're changing that code. And it is directly relevant to the fact that I have documented them and published on the worldwide internet the fact that they are a third party, that they are engaged in federal group stalking monitoring with the government, and the fact that they are a sex offender. This is just speaking to that which is a means of ongoing monitoring as well. This is requiring for the third party specifically to be in relevant position, opening the door, present while activity is occurring inside of the bathroom, and by any means amplification of sound through the bathroom door, leaving the water running in the bathroom while they are present, opening up the door because they have made the code unavailable. This is P.O.C., but it is also the absence of a coincidence where I am documenting and publishing on the internet the fact that it is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That is, Stater Brothers is a federal group stalker. It is a sex offender, okay, as a company. And this is very contradictory to its public image as a family market, a family store. They're engaged in unprecedented criminal activity, and this is that which they are facilitating in concert with its patrons. This is intentional malicious conduct. It is also demonic activity before your face. It's public corruption in plain sight. It is demonic activity in plain sight, and that's what I continue to document. And so I want you to also pay attention to the background. When you hear the ongoing honking of the horn, that's a third party, knowing that I'm documenting them, speaking to criminal activity. The ongoing sound of drilling in the background, that incessant activity creation. It is the same conduct that the state engages in, for example, when I'm at Ontario Town Square and they begin going psycho with the sirens and the helicopter over my head as I'm in the midst of publishing my documentation on Facebook Live or to my podcast. It is the same entity engaging in creating activity. It is monitoring, but it is also the same entity that is engaged in seeking to be a distraction. All you have to do is listen to the surroundings and understand that this is intentional conduct. You're talking about the psychopath that I'm documenting, listening to its own self, listening to the criminal activity that it is engaged in. And that is not only monitoring, it is also evidence of that psychopath serving the purposes of monitoring. The state's fake sun object, as I have captured many times, parked directly above me here at this third-party facilitating venue, Ontario Village Shopping Plaza, where P.O.C. is ceaseless. It's 9:59 a.m., and this is P.O.C. As I exit Stater Brothers Plaza, I want to go on ahead and mention P.O.C. as I exit the bathroom. First of all, they are stalking with activity. So as I am seen on cameras at the area in front of the where they serve hot food like their fried chicken and the sandwiches and the little mini refrigerator area, their bakery area, I'm standing in front of that area. You also want to be careful. Pay attention to what they're doing on camera with the merchandise. Where I get the hard-boiled eggs, It was full. As I exit the bathroom, that merchandise is suddenly not full anymore. This is what I mean with regard to everything that they do is intended and is focused on me. That's not a coincidence. All you have to do is pay attention to the camera and see who engaged in moving and removing that merchandise within less than 7 to 8 minutes. It was absolutely full, and then it was basically empty. It is a merchandise that I am engaged in buying, interested in purchasing, which the entity that is stalking me and monitoring me is fully aware of. This is P.O.C. The state is flying directly over the parking lot in a small white airplane, flying west, while a third party in license plate 6 Nancy George Larry 919 crossed path. You heard her keys dangling. She's creating audible activity crossing path under the state's fake sun, while at the same time the state is flying directly over this parking lot. Okay, that's P.O.C. Anyway, it is 10 a.m. So with regard to that, that's just as an aside, that's the stalking conduct inside of a venue. Okay, the factual circumstances relevant there, it's in a grocery store. Third parties are stalking inside of every venue. Okay, and you're talking about stalking with regard to federal group stalking and monitoring. They are stalking because they are present in the path of the targeted individual with a criminal motive to monitor in concert and on behalf of that public entity that is monitoring. And they are stalking. Okay, so you're talking about stalking inside of the grocery store, fully aware that I'm looking at hard-boiled eggs. It's full. I come out of the bathroom about 7-8 minutes later and it's empty. Okay, so anyway, but I did grab one. There were 1 or 2 left. I just want to give an illustration of the psychopath that I am documenting. Okay, this same demonic influence operating over a people. Okay, it is the exact same influence, and it is the exact same criminal activity. So anyway, as I reference the security cameras inside of that venue, P.O.C. inside of Stater Brothers, as I'm standing at that area, this is the use of activity to monitor. Okay, so what you are looking at is married to the audible activity. And so as I exit the bathroom, first of all, impossible light activity. This is the state that is directing light inside of the venue as I am walking out of the hallway, exiting the bathroom. Stephanie, she is wearing black bottoms and a white shirt, as opposed to the blue shirts that the other employees wear. So I suppose this means she's some sort of managerial status. I'm not sure, but she's wearing a white shirt and black bottoms. She is at the register. To my right, as I'm exiting the bathroom hallway, impossible light activity, shooting onto the merchandise across from the register in front of me as I'm exiting the bathroom. That is the state directing light. She is in relevant position. She is doing the same thing that all other third parties inside and outside are doing. They're monitoring. That's why the state is directing light in this impossible manner. She is just visible. That's why I'm referencing her. And as I exit, this impossible light activity is appearing. As I walk through the store, I go to the hard-boiled eggs. That is a state that is hovering over. Okay, so all you have to do is listen to my environment, and you know that ongoing monitoring is ongoing. This is federal group stalking and monitoring as I document it. Okay, so this is the psychopath. All right, so anyway, continuing. As I go to the hard-boiled eggs near the fried chicken near their bakery area, and it is obviously empty, as opposed to how it was prior when I first entered. The state, they are the state. They're vicariously acting on behalf of the state. They're monitoring with the state that is flying over this parking lot in a larger commercial size plane. Okay. And this is the Stater Brothers using a loud beeping sound, and that is ongoing for a prolonged period while I'm standing at that area. That's monitoring while they are patrolling as one group. I am surrounded inside of that venue. Okay, so I am isolating P.O.C. to the venue. Understand relevant positioning for purposes of stalking and monitoring with communication devices is occurring beyond the inside of Stater Brothers. I am isolating it to that venue because I am inside on the security cameras. I am demonstrating how they are monitoring me inside of that venue, which is analogous to the same pattern of conduct in any venue. They're engaging in the same criminal elements. So while I am on the cameras inside the venue, the Stater Brothers employees engaging in using an ongoing sound of beeping. It is sounding continuously for a prolonged period while I'm standing at that area, and I also reference the security cameras. This is monitoring. Okay, the state is directing impossible light activity. Light is also present inside of the venue. They surround as a group, all in relevant position with communication devices. The state is flying over the venue. The state is directing its impossible light, meaning i.e. the fake sun, directly over the venue, and they are creating all manner of activity as well and crossing path. This is P.O.C. And this is also, as in real time, I'm referencing the security cameras in the venue. So as I move my person and go toward the farthest aisle, which would be, if you're speaking in terms of north, south, east, west, it would be the east side of the store, the farthest aisle on the east side of the store, where you would have the bakery. Nearest where the bakery is, that bakery aisle, where the Lunchables are, basically. And as I walk down that aisle, again, creating additional noise on the opposite side. So the beeping sound that is slightly deviated in sound, it's achieving the same criminal purpose. As I am moving, they're creating loud noise to surround me with activity as they are surrounding in my path, and while light is present, they're monitoring inside. And this is, again, as they are crossing paths. And I also reference the security cameras as this is occurring. This is monitoring. This is P.O.C. today as I'm inside of the venue. I reference the security cameras as I move about the store, just speaking to the fact that they're engaged in sexual group assault and battery again, and the stalking with activity for purposes of monitoring while I'm moving around in the store. And upon my exit of the store after completing my purchase at 9:34 a.m., directly in alignment to the exit, I exit on the east side of the store, and light activity created by vehicles that are parked on Holt Boulevard directly aligned to the entrance, creating light activity. Okay, monitoring, which I also reference. This is P.O.C. as I'm exiting, so you keep a steady stream of surrounding with light activity, audible activity, and presence in the path. This is federal group stalking, exiting the inside of the third-party facilitating venue, Stater Brothers, and walking into the parking lot where light activity is for purposes of monitoring, and they are all patrolling. The state is patrolling in the sky, and the state is present, lurking around on corners and on streets, crossing path with every other third-party group stalker prepared to sound sirens. Okay, this is federal group stalking and monitoring, and this is particular P.O.C. at the third-party facilitating venue, Stater Brothers, 646 West Holt Boulevard, acting with and in concert, not coincidentally, light activity in relevant position to me. That is the pattern. Okay, this is what I continue to document. This is how they engage in monitoring with communication devices. All right, it is currently 10:06 a.m. And during the duration of this audible documentation, you are hearing all examples of how third-party group stalkers in the state engage in stalking with activity. This is what they engage in on a ceaseless basis. This is not only criminal monitoring, it is demonic activity, as they are all focused on what I am saying, where I am, and what I am doing, and stalking with all means of these examples of activity. This is that which is, I call a soundtrack, as demons are literally engaging in criminal monitoring and in all manners stalking, while the state is also stalking in all of the ways in which I continue to document. It is 10:07 a.m. I remain inside of Ontario Village Plaza, and P.O.C. is continuous, as you can hear. All elements are present, and that is the P.O.C. All right, it's 10:27 a.m. Third-party group stalkers in relevant position loitering on Euclid at Ontario Town Square, where it is anticipated I'm going to go. I just want to get this license plate 8 Karen Victor Wendy 991, loitering in relevant position, sitting in her car as I am loitering in relevant position as the impossible light activity continues to stream across the sidewalk at the same time that third parties are what is legally referred to as crossing path, right? And the state's fake son, I just took an image of it and took an image of that third party group stalker. She's doing the same thing that every other one is doing. She just happens to be directly in front of me to provide an additional example of what federal group stalking and monitoring is. Okay, you have one that's in my immediate vicinity. They're doing the same thing in motion. You don't have to stop to do it. You have one that literally stops, is in front of me in direct relevant position as what is impossible light activity. This is orange colored light that is streaming in lines across the sidewalk and across the building to my right as I'm walking north on Euclid Avenue toward Ontario Town Square. And this light, which is not occurring from sunlight, this is not reflection. You're talking about light which is shooting in an opposite direction. Okay, so where sunlight is beaming downward, the sunlight has a downward trajectory because it is above the surfaces of the earth, and light is not going to bounce off of a car in the form of a line onto sidewalks in motion with those cars. This is called impossible light activity. It is the desperate an unintelligent and unsophisticated tactic of the public entity that is monitoring with communication devices, excuse me. This is a means of engaging in all three elements while I'm in motion walking to this venue. This is monitoring while you are traveling, while you're in motion. Okay, this is what I was referring to yesterday while inside of the vehicle of Tracy Banks, third-party group stalker. She's an insider, meaning she happens to be a third-party group stalker whose name I know. Okay, the target individual has no genuine friend, has no family relative that is not engaged in monitoring you. When a public entity is monitoring you, understand that everyone is a third party that is not directly affiliated with the government. It's divided by status. You're either the state acting directly or the state acting vicariously, and you do not have a friend. Okay, they are engaged in monitoring you, and it is a malicious system. And at the moment that that target individual becomes aware of it for whatever reason, however that comes about, even if they sense it, this is when the pattern of conduct of criminal obstruction immediately begins. And that is essentially criminal defamation, seeking to have the target individual depicted as suffering mental illness, which literally comes out of the blue. This is the P.O.C. So anyway, with regard to yesterday, December 20th, inside of the vehicle of Tracy Banks, while she's driving around, impossible light activity inside of her car, okay? And by impossible light activity, I mean the exact same orange colored light appearing on the roof, the inside of the car directly in front of me, while she's the third party in alignment to me inside of the car, by the way, okay? Positioned in alignment. In the car, you're in relevant position. Understand they're monitoring you in this way. Also in concert with the state that is stalking by plane. I documented this everywhere that I was going. The state flying over the venues by airplane, literally flying in circles and directly over my head. I mean, just providing a wealth of documentation. This is what federal group stalking and monitoring is. The state stalking with its fake sun directly in the center of the venues, directly over my head at all the venues that I went to. And the state stalking vicariously while you're in traffic, okay? And third parties are in their vehicles, crossing paths, sitting at a traffic light, while impossible light activity, because at no time of day and in no way is sunlight ever beaming onto the inside of the car, onto the upper roof, moving across in both directions. This is light activity. This is the exact same conduct of the state monitoring me while I'm inside of a third party group stalker's vehicle. Okay, and it is not coincidental that it's occurring while I'm in the presence of third parties. This is not coincidental monitoring conduct. It is the system in operation. The same exact behavioral pattern occurring in a different venue or a different factual context, if you will, while you're traveling in any vehicle, while you're walking, while you are at any location. Okay, it is P.O.C. and this is what I am demonstrating, and that is the state that is engaging in this light activity. And that is a state that is stalking with a literal light object that is supposed to be a sun. It's a fake sun. That is not the sun, and it is absolutely asinine that it is engaging in such conduct. And why do you do this though? Even while the target individual is blatantly exposing it as such, it is for purposes of monitoring with communication devices. I want to point something out right now that's occurring because this is speaking to what is both criminal facilitation of federal group stalking and monitoring, and also demonic activity. You have a third-party group stalker using minors to create audible activity. Okay, he or she, the third party that is monitoring, is in relevant position, and as you have young children walking around, understand this is a means of audible activity. Okay, while the third-party group stalker is engaging in monitoring you via the noise that children are going to make. So understand the elements remain present. And this is the demonic aspect, the malicious conduct that third-party group stalkers engage in. When I say you are looking at the P.O.C., that's exactly what I mean. It is a means of analyzing the ways in which the criminal elements are being engaged in because they are present. Okay, that they remain present at all times, and it is a means of legal analysis, understanding how they're engaging in it. And what you are looking at is married to the audible activity. And so right now at 10:34 a.m., you have two minor children on like a skateboard or bikes, whatever. This is the noise you hear going past me. Understand this. The adult that is with them is using that as a means of crossing path and creating audible activity as he is monitoring. All right. And this is what I mean by criminal facilitation. But with regard to the young adults with communication devices, understand the state is engaged in criminal facilitation and using them for the outward form of appearance of normalcy. And guess what? It actually is normal. Communication devices are universal, especially in California. And as with regard to federal law, any minority engaged in the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring is in no way accepted from prosecution. And at the age of majority, they will also suffer any additional repercussions, including and up to, which does not have to wait to the age of majority, being shipped out of this country if you are not an American citizen, or if you have been granted naturalization or whatever that process includes, because this is the quintessential example of being unworthy of being in this country, the most un-American crime that you can engage in, violating the American and constitutional and human rights of an American citizen, while you are seeking to be one and be in this country. I don't think so. You're out. Period. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it is just the most absurd, hypocritical conduct that a government can engage in. But this is how you prosecute, and these are laws that need to be placed, and this is what I.I.S is designed to address. And it is also with regard to being a sex offender. At the age of majority, they shall be subject to the exact same treatment under federal law. There is absolutely no ground for going any less fierce on someone under the age of 18, fully capable of operating a communication device, and which, by the way, they don't have to engage in any rocket science using their communication device. You're talking about mere presence with a communication device. That's all they have to do, okay? You're talking about them being around just playing music on their phone, all right? Just being around having the phone on their person. That's all they have to do. This is not rocket science. All right. The government is engaged in this manner. I'm showing the ease with which a public entity is engaging in keeping a targeted individual surrounded by the people of that state. And everybody has a cell phone. Everyone has a cell phone. Everyone. All right. And this is why federal prosecution is not limited to somebody over the age of 18. That is absolutely counterintuitive. It doesn't even make sense with regard to the popularity of communication devices, and everyone and every company is incorporating it into what they do on a daily basis as a matter of business. Okay. And so this is in no way, there is no company, there's no individual that is accepted from federal prosecution. I just want to point that out. So anyway, it is currently 10:37 a.m. I am at the third party facilitating venue, Ontario Town Square. And that is P.O.C. I did capture video again of what is impossible light activity. And this is just more of the same, the state surrounding with light. This is demonic, okay? You are looking at demonic activity because it is not, first of all, you're talking about criminal monitoring. We'll get to the demonic aspect because this is relevant context speaking to the demonic aspect. It is criminal activity. You have all elements present. Element 1, light activity, any creation thereof. Element 2, activity, meaning audible activity, visible activity, sensational activity, creating light activity and light appearing on the surfaces all around you, no matter how impossible it is. Understand, it is something that is visible. It's visible activity. It's moving light. This is visible activity. Audible activity as well, while the state is while the state vicariously, the third parties in traffic, are creating audible activity by virtue of their driving past. Okay, and I'm just focusing on them. The state is keeping a constant rhythm of audible activity, amplified or otherwise. Okay, activity is constant. And the third element is relevant positioning, and that is the literal stalking. Okay, and third parties are vicariously acting and present on behalf of the government. That is, every third party, any commercial company acting through some employee, any individual, they are in the position of the government. They are walking in the shoes. They are taking the position of the state that is monitoring you. They are stalking vicariously. They are present in your path on behalf of that entity. This is how this public entity engages in the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. And as they are driving past, while impossible light activity is coinciding with their crossing a path, this is POC. That's the pattern of conduct for monitoring with communication devices. And that's exactly what is occurring. That's exactly what I'm capturing on video. That's monitoring. This is demonic activity. Understand that this light activity is not only impossible and asinine as I am pointing it out, okay? This is nothing that is happening with sunlight. This is not the sun also that is hovering over it and literally migrating in every manner of direction every single day. It is demonic, okay? The state's use of light, the stalking with light, this has a demonic root, okay? And this is what you need to understand. It is literally demonic activity as they are driving past. Okay, I am showing you how you are recognizing what is, and this is through the conduct. I'm pointing out the criminal elements. You are looking at demonic activity, okay? Demonic activity is not defined by looking at their outfit and whether they have on all black and listen to some gothic singer or they are flying around on a broomstick. This is ridiculous, okay? That is making light of and intentionally falsely depicting what is demonic activity. Demonic activity is occurring every day in front of your face and you are unaware of what you are looking at, okay? That is demonic activity, this use of impossible light activity while they are merely driving past, okay? This is not a coincidence of conduct that happens to be both criminal for monitoring, but it is also that which is demonic, being engaged in by a group that are engaging in targeting an American citizen. It's demonic activity as well, okay? And so that's the relevant context. And this demonic influence operating over a group, this is the psychopath that I am documenting. This is relevant to punishment following federal prosecution. It is 10:40 a.m. I am at a third-party facilitating venue, Ontario Town Square. P.O.C. is continuous, obviously. Again, I do have video and images to accompany all of my documentation. So that is to be attached as well. All right, that's the P.O.C. All right, P.O.C. It is 11:24 a.m. Approximately about 7 minutes ago, as I'm walking south on Bonneview toward third-party facilitating venue Mercy House, the plane, that is the state, large commercial-sized plane, the state using those planes to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, flies directly over my head while I am near the train tracks after passing the traffic cameras. So this is the state that is engaged in the same directed activity where I am. That is where the state is present with planes using it to create audible activity and using it to engage in federal stalking. The state is currently flying. I've been at Mercy House for less than 5 minutes, and the state is flying over at 11:23 a.m. and 11:24 a.m. right now as I turn on my phone. I'm going to go ahead and read third-party license plates. They're all in relevant position on Washington, monitoring with the state. The state's fake sun object is right here hovering over the venue. They are all in their cars. The state is amplifying all manner of audible activity using the train and stalking with planes over the venue. This is P.O.C. License plate 5 Charlie George Bob 411 8 Robert Frank Victor 721 8 Nancy Queen Yogurt 447 5 Yogurt Benjamin Jack 539 72603 Yogurt 2. You have a black male driving a black truck that does not have a top on the front engine. No license plate whatsoever. I'm going to go ahead and get a picture of this. All right, it is currently 11:28 a.m. I did take an image of that. That is license plate 14817 Lion 1 or Larry 1. That is creating the light activity at the top of the street while I'm at the other end of the dead end where I'm getting all the license plate. This is intentional. This is the pattern, okay? The hazard lights. This is the third-party group stalker's manner of creating light activity. They're engaged in P.O.C. 8 Frank David Frank 187. I don't know if I read this one. I'm going to read it again. 31217 U as in Uncle 2. 8 Mary Zebra Karen 780. 7 Karen Paul Wendy 284. Just in case I didn't read them, I'm just going to go ahead and read them. 8 Samuel Uncle Nancy 452. 8 Daniel Sam 892. And this is the state flying over the venue, okay? Like I said, they're all engaged in P.O.C. This is 8 Charlie Victor Larry 930. That is P.O.C. All right, that is the image I took as I'm documenting the state engaging in that same stalking pattern, monitoring, flying directly over my head, all right, targeting my location. This is why they're flying over me at the corner of Allen and Bonneview and Holt Boulevard. This is why they're flying over me at the railroad tracks at Emporia. This is why they're flying over me while I'm inside of the venue at Mercy House. This is why they're flying over me while at the moment I step outside onto the street, they're flying directly over my head. This is why they're flying directly over my head right now while I'm at the tip at the intersection of Washington and Bonneview. That is P.O.C. In every license plate that I documented, they're engaging in P.O.C. It is 11:30 a.m. and that is P.O.C. Federal group stalking and monitoring underway at third-party facilitating venue Mercy House. Every single last one of them monitoring with the state. P.O.C. Okay, it is 11:52 a.m. and I just captured video of the state engaging in constant patrolling via aircraft, and this is the audible activity that I'm speaking of. The plane, as it is approaching in this direction, is inaudible. You don't hear anything. It is suddenly heard, and as I get up, it is directly aligned to my position where the state's fake sun object is also positioned. This is the amplification of audible activity for purposes of criminal monitoring with communication devices, and as I stated, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center monitoring along with every other third-party group stalker. Okay, this is P.O.C. and I am documenting the ongoing monitoring conduct at this venue, presenting a threat to the very life, the physical safety, the overall well-being of the targeted individual, that is myself, as I continue to document a public entity criminally monitoring and stalking. This is federal group stalking and monitoring. That's P.O.C. All right, 11:58. Delta Airlines flying directly over my head. That's P.O.C. Amplified audible activity, light and relevant positioning. All right, I just captured video. Here's another one at 12:02. Same location. When I say all they're doing is monitoring, that's what I mean. That's all they are doing. They meaning the state and third parties that surround. It's P.O.C. (12:07 p.m.) Same location, right over my head as I sit outside. P.O.C. Okay, I did capture some still images just as an example of where third parties are loitering in relevant positions, such as the men's restroom while I'm sitting outside on the bench as the state is patrolling via aircraft over my head. In the men's restroom, you have third-party group stalkers who remain in the bathroom at the same time. So this is alignment while they're inside of that building. Again, monitoring with communication devices, a wall, any outside construction is no obstruction to monitoring with communication devices, and so that is a means of loitering in a quote-unquote concealed manner while they remain in the men's bathroom while the state is patrolling repeatedly and by aircraft, and also patrolling, this is the state vicariously patrolling in traffic on Bonneview and on Washington and loitering in the same manners, in the same locations, and also this entire area of relevant positioning where they are at the businesses across the street. This is all a matter of group conduct, and it is P.O.C. So they are inside of the office monitoring in relevant position, inside of the men's restroom monitoring in relevant position, and also sitting outside in relevant position. It's P.O.C. Those are just images, examples of third-party group stalking. That's what that is. The state's ongoing stalking conduct over my head via aircraft is what prefaces this. It is while the state's light object is positioned over the venue as well, and while the state is amplifying all manner of activity. This is license plate 7 Deborah Edward Paul 687. While she's opening her door and possible light activity appearing on the surfaces, she's crossing paths. This is an employee. She's on the cameras wearing a red shirt, blue jeans. Again, this is the entity that is listening to me document. They engage in ongoing monitoring conduct as I document what they are doing. And what she's doing is entering the building right behind where I'm sitting. She's engaged in monitoring, and the impossible light activity occurring as she is in motion is prefacing that. This is how you know what she's doing. This is how you know it's a third party. In addition to the fact that the system of federal group stalking and monitoring is impossible to occur without third parties acting with that entity that is clearly stalking by plane, police, ambulance, and fire. This is also on their surveillance cameras. That's P.O.C. It is 12:12 p.m. So actually, with regard to analyzing what she's engaging in, this is patrolling conduct, where you are looking at her walk back and forth. That is the same conduct, and that's what she's doing in real time. Understand, with simultaneity to my documentation, this is the pattern. And she pulls up, engages in this conduct as I am pointing out how they engage in monitoring at this venue. That is the pattern of conduct. That is the behavioral pattern of the entity that is listening to me documented as well. She is the white female with shoulder-length hair, red top, and blue jeans. P.O.C. It is 12:39 p.m. At 12:36 p.m., 12:37 p.m. as I am sitting inside of the office, while the security cameras will show that the front door is held open. Mind you, the state's light source directly over the venue. This is letting in light, and the state is also directing light. So as you see them, what is patrolling conduct? Right, this is repeated crossing of path. Element 3, moving light inside of the venue along the blinds to my right where I'm sitting, coming through the door that is being held open. Okay, this is P.O.C. The same impossible light activities the state is directing it inside of the office while they are patrolling in and out. It's 12:40 p.m. That's P.O.C. All right, it is December 21st, 2020. It's currently 1:02 p.m. And the video that I am capturing is significant with regard to what I have described as cumulative evidence with regard to a public entity stalking with light. That is a literal fake sun object that hovers above, literally following. This is the state stalking with light because it's monitoring with communication devices. And my documentation captured at the Walmart at the intersection of Mountain Avenue and Mountain and 5th in Ontario, California, and I captured the state's light source directly over me in this parking lot at 12:58 p.m. This is in direct contradiction to its location where I just captured it right now at the same time, 12:58 p.m., directly over this venue at 435 South Bonneview. Distinctly different locations, again, mutually exclusive, and this is the ongoing documentation of that. You engage in this stalking with light when you are monitoring, okay? And this is just one example. Not only is this evidence from yesterday in contradiction to what I'm documenting today, the state's placement of its fake sun over that particular venue is also in conflict with its previous placements where the state engaged in patrolling in a circle above me as I stood at that same venue at Walmart at Mountain and 5th, and the helicopter patrolled above me while the state's fake sun object was directly over the Walmart building, over the garden area as I stood outside. If you recall my documentation, that is already published on YouTube. This is P.O.C. And I am just showing how you are engaging in prosecuting a public entity and the ways in which a public entity monitors. And this is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is currently 1:04 p.m. All right, the current time is 2:42 p.m. My ongoing documentation includes not only this audio documentation, but my videos, which I just captured video at 2:30. I'll be precise, it was at 2:39 p.m. I initially began on the minute because what I am doing is I am documenting exactly 24 hours later with regard to the state's documented placement, location of its light source, because that's what it is. It is not the sun. It is a light source for criminal monitoring that the state hovers directly above me at every place where I am. And today, December 21st, I am doing a direct comparison with what the state was engaged in with regard to ongoing, ceaseless criminal monitoring with communication devices in concert with the people of the state of California, where I was traveling from location to location, that is venue to venue, where the state was engaged in ceaseless group stalking, federal group stalking and monitoring. And 2:37 p.m., essentially the same time today, 2:39 p.m., the state's fake sun object is again here where I am, hovering over 435 South Bondview, and this is directly compared to the state's fake sun object, which was hovering as it is captured in video to be published with my podcast for yesterday, December 20th, 2020 at 2:37 p.m. Video capturing the state's fake sun object directly above me, as you see it blazing in all of its essence over me in the parking lot inside of the Colonies Crossroads Plaza in Upland, California. Where I am located at that time, and these are two distinctly different locations, in no way comparable. And the state's light source at its quote-unquote zenith, meaning directly above me, this is impossible. Not only is this not the sun, it's a scientific fact. I am showing you how a state is engaging in criminal monitoring, and the first element is stalking by light. And this is just one example of ongoing cumulative documentation, direct comparison to the state's placement of its fake sun object just 24 hours prior, okay? The state's fake sun object directly hovering above me over Dick's Sporting Plaza and at 2:37 p.m. in that same parking lot, that same shopping plaza at 2:37 p.m. And this is an entirely distinctly different location where it is also at its quote-unquote zenith, which is again, documentation of what is stalking by light. Not only is this criminal monitoring conduct, it's the first element for monitoring with communication devices. Understand that the state is practicing a satanic targeting system in concert with the people of the state of California. And what I also mentioned in my video today is the fact that the state has engaged in flight over this venue, hovering in low aircrafts. And also, I captured the state flying over in smaller aircrafts at higher elevations, still amplified in volume, and more than 25 airplanes today. And it is only 2:45 p.m. And this is P.O.C. for Federal Group Stalking and Monitoring. This is that which is occurring at third-party facilitating venue Mercy House. This is documentation demonstrating and further revealing how federal group stalking and monitoring works, how it is completely unhindered, how it is in ceaseless operation, how the state is directly stalking by police, fire, ambulance, airplanes, and helicopter, and stalking with light. You stalk with light, and you do it in such an extreme manner as an unheard and psychopathic manner with a fake sun, a literal object hovering, migrating wherever the target individual goes, and it's supposed to be a sun. This is out of this world criminal conduct, and it is also that which a psychopath engages in. The psychopath is the state of California that is monitoring an American citizen, okay? And this is conclusive documentation of that. This is that which is, cumulative. I've already established this. If you just paid attention to my YouTube documentation, this is already established. This is just another direct example, because what the state is engaged in is in no way, like I said, it is in no way sophisticated. It is completely unintelligent and asinine. All you have to do is pay attention and have any common sense about basic science to know that this is not the sun and the ways in which the state is engaging in this conduct. But the reason why is because it is engaged in ceaseless and diligent criminal and desperate monitoring conduct. Okay, while it is monitoring the documentation, this is a psychopath that I'm documenting, and that is already prosecuted. This is the federal prosecution of the state of California, and this is a psychopath stalking with a literal fake sun object. There is absolutely no comparison with this location and with the locations from yesterday. And this is in addition to every other location that I have already documented the same conduct. This is P.O.C. And this is the ongoing engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring. The current time is 2:47 p.m. That's called stalking with activity that you're hearing in the background. This is demonic activity. They are entirely focused on what I'm doing, and they engage in, this is the psychopath that I'm documenting, okay? Ongoing monitoring as they are listening to me document, listening to every word, focused on everything that I do and every move I make, keeping me surrounded by the entity that is the state directly and vicariously, and keeping me surrounded with activity and keeping me surrounded with light, okay? It is 2:48 p.m., and that's the P.O.C. All right, it is 3:20 p.m. This is to speak on a couple of items of documentation that I just took with regard to the very short video of the impossible light activity captured on this small little grocery bag, which is directly in front of me. That's called being in alignment. While the state is aiming light on a surface directly in front of me, this is monitoring, while a third party is sitting in close proximity, monitoring with all of the rest of them around. But you want to note this is comparable to the actual location of the state's fake sun object. It's impossible because of that. It is also impossible because of the trajectory of the open door, and it's appearing on a small little spot on the bag. It is focused on my location. This is monitoring conduct. And in addition to that, with regard to the light activity that I just captured the video of, comparing it with the time that it was captured 24 hours prior at 1540 Foothill Boulevard, the Walmart where the state's fake sun was hovering over that venue, and you have the impossible light activity aimed inside of this present venue. This is P.O.C. These are the details you pay attention to. This is how a public entity engages in monitoring with communication devices. It's currently 3:22 p.m. And that's the significance of the videos that I capture. You're going to want to pay attention to that. I am taking still images and video to show the ways in which you are placing light around, you are physically remaining around, and you are surrounding with activity at all times when you're monitoring with communication devices. This is 435 South Bonneview. That is the P.O.C. Alright, it is currently 3:39 p.m. I am capturing images of my current location, having left third-party facilitating venue Mercy House at 435 South Bonneview. This is the timestamp with regard to my presence at this intersection. Let's be clear, everyone in relevant position monitoring with the state. So I'm just being clear on my location and the time of day and monitoring as it is occurring. 9 Frank 67037, a large white truck with appliance on the front of the truck is turning onto Bonneview from Holt. It is driving south on Bonneview. This is relevant with regard to the ongoing sexual molestation. The state is a sex offender, and as each and every one of these third parties cross path in their vehicles, impossible light activity touching my person. The same orange radiant light that I just showed you on the door appearing where there is no sun. This is impossible light activity, the same use as they are crossing path. Not only is this criminal monitoring, it is demonic activity. The state is a sex offender. Understand that the state is touching you. The state is a very threatening criminal stalker that is also touching you hundreds and hundreds of times in concert with the group that is the people of the state that are monitoring you in concert with it. Okay, and this is how you analyze that. This is that which I.I.S. legislation is designed to address and prosecute a public entity for, and each third party that is engaged in that sexual molestation of the targeted individual's person. This is occurring as I'm walking north on Bonneview, and it is currently, let me get license plate 7 Charlie 16635. Red truck is driving east on Holt Boulevard. It is currently 3:41 p.m. I am going to proceed to walk west on Holt Boulevard now. That's P.O.C. All right, it is currently 3:48 p.m. I'm gonna go back about 40 seconds. 3:47 p.m. Omnitrans 61 westbound, crossing path as I am walking west on Holt Boulevard under the state's light source. Minutes after the state is engaging in stalking monitoring via fire truck, crossing path with lights on the vehicle. Ontario Police in relevant position directly in front of Omnitrans bus number 2359, crossing path at campus and Holt Boulevard. And I did acknowledge the camera as it was monitoring. And this is while Ontario Police are directly in front on Omnitrans camera. And I am also on camera pointing out P.O.C. Ontario Police with lights on the vehicles, and also literally for the brief moment of crossing path. And I'm sorry, not Omnitrans, and then Ontario Police proceed directly in front of Omnitrans, which is also going to be on Omnitrans camera. That was Omnitrans bus number 2359 at 3:40 3:47 p.m. Passing, I'm walking very fast, crossing path, engaging in criminal elements. Number 1, for light activity on the bus. 2, for visible and audible activity. And 3, relevant positioning. They are crossing path. They are monitoring with the state. That is stalking with light, stalking by plane, and stalking by police. In this very same moment, Ontario Police intentionally in front, creating light activity as Omnitrans and every other third party are crossing path, but specifically Omnitrans, a very powerful communication device, if you will, on wheels, crossing path, and Ontario Police are on that camera. Again, that was bus number 2359 at 3:47 at campus in Holt Boulevard. That is P.O.C. All right, P.O.C. It is currently 4:42 p.m. I just want to make sure I go over the thorough P.O.C. as it occurred ceaselessly at third-party facilitating venue Mercy House, located at 435 South Bonneview in Ontario, California, where I was subject to federal group stalking and monitoring. That is monitoring by the state of California in concert with the people of that state. Criminally monitoring with communication devices. All elements present: light, ongoing activity, visible, audible, sensational, that's the train, in addition to relevant positioning, and that is literally stalking by an entity. That is the state directly by plane, helicopter, police, ambulance, fire, and the state stalking vicariously. That is the people of the state of California who are acting in concert with that entity, and by their very presence in the path, thereby facilitating a criminal monitoring system, which is the way in which a public entity monitors an American citizen. Indeed, the state relies on that presence in the path of the targeted individual in order to engage in ceaseless stalking for the criminal purpose of a monitoring system. That is what federal group stalking and monitoring is. A public entity is monitoring you with communication devices, and this is why they are stalking both directly and vicariously. And that is 3 elements, the 3 criminal elements that I just stated. Light, activity, and relevant positioning, which is literally the third element. Relevant positioning is literally the stalking element. And I am also speaking to that, which are each and every one of those elements are all satanic elements. So this is not only a criminal system operated by the state of California, it is a thoroughly satanic system. And engagement in that, meaning engagement in any single element, and I am showing how the state is engaged in ceaseless engagement in all 3 elements, whereby I'm subject to constant, ceaseless monitoring, unhindered at any time and at every location. It is absolutely unhindered and ceaselessly underway. That this is an ongoing demonstration of demonic activity, which you are understanding what you are looking at. You are understanding and comprehending the essence of what is that of the demonic, and it is also highly criminal, that which has never been addressed by federal legislation, and this is that which I also personally advocate and have created federal legislation in order to address every criminal and put in parentheses demonic tactic of a public entity engaging in such monitoring of an American citizen. With regard to P.O.C., I want to go over, and again, my audio documentation is supplemented with visuals, meaning I'm taking also a plethora of still images in order to give an illustration of what it is I am describing as it is occurring, or immediately following its occurrence, or to sum up the totality of what has occurred. This is real-time documentation, and I am also taking video so that you understand what I mean by everything that I'm describing. And when I say ceaseless, when I say stalking, when I say constant, I literally mean that. When you are speaking of this, you have to be literal, and I am being literal. I am being hyperbolic in no manner whatsoever. And this is also that which I am unveiling, which is demonic activity, which is prevalent in the state of California. Everywhere that I go, monitoring is underway. So with regard to the state stalking directly via planes, which again, the state is engaged in constant stalking directly. This is plane, helicopter, police, fire, ambulance. They represent the state. They are engaged in criminal monitoring. And so the significance of the plane activity is with regard to stalking. They are the state of California legally engaged in what is statutorily defined as stalking. And they are stalking via airplane, creating audible activity, which is monitoring conduct. Okay, so when the state is flying over, beside me, around me, this is called relevant positioning. That is the stalking via aircraft, and the audible activity that is amplification of the sound of a plane. That is for purposes of monitoring with the third parties that all are in relevant position. Right, which expands beyond the immediate venue where I am located. And during this documentation, I am located at third-party facilitating venue Mercy House. Again, with regard to monitoring with communication devices, let me be clear as I continue to state, you are speaking of technology. This is how the public entity is monitoring you. They're using communication devices, and this is spanning beyond the inside doors of this office and the outside area on the benches. You're speaking of an entire area, a zone, if you will, of relevant positioning. This spans beyond that street, that block, that intersection. I am being monitored with communication devices spanning a radius, okay? And so this is a distance. I am merely describing what is occurring in my immediate environment because I am the one that is being monitored. Ongoing activity surrounds me, whereby ongoing monitoring with communication devices, that is occurring beyond the walls of 435 South Bonneview, is able to proceed without any hindrance whatsoever. So with regard to the planes, again, I'm going to go through as I went through the labor of documenting each and every time, also referencing the security cameras on the grounds of that venue, the state engaging in the use of amplification of audible activity via airplane, and this is this which I listed each and every time, and also referencing the cameras. The state engaging in flying over me repeatedly, 11:33 a.m., 11:35 a.m., 11:40 a.m., 11:52 a.m., 11:54 a.m., 11:55 a.m., 11:59 a.m., 12:02 p.m., 12:07 p.m., 12:19 p.m., 12:23 p.m., 12:26 p.m., 12:28 p.m., 12:54 p.m., 12:56 p.m., 12:57 p.m., 1:02 p.m., 1:06 p.m., 1:37 p.m., 1:46 p.m., 1:50 p.m., 2:10 p.m., 2:11 p.m., 2:20 p.m., 2:30 p.m., 2:55 p.m., 3:08 p.m., 3:19 p.m. And again, this is not including all of the video where I captured the actual visual of the state flying over. So this is 28 times that I am documenting literal timestamps of the state creating audible activity. That's what this is. This is monitoring conduct that the state is providing in order to engage in criminal facilitation of federal group stalking and monitoring, whereby the people of the state, all in relevant position, may monitor with it, monitor an American citizen. And this is not including the video that I also captured, which supplements this documentation. This is just to illustrate the ceaseless monitoring, the obsessive stalking, and criminal monitoring conduct that the state of California is engaged in, using all manner of aircraft, okay? Using not only third-party commercial airline planes, flying directly over my head, flying all around me, flying in the state using smaller aircrafts, flying at higher elevations, surrounding the venue as well, which I've also documented both here and at other venues. The state uses a plethora of aircrafts to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring. It is currently 4:50 p.m. and P.O.C. continued again as I left that venue and walked to the Ontario Library, the Ontario Ovid Family Library. Again, P.O.C. is ceaseless, and I just want you to be clear that P.O.C. does not stop when my audio documentation stops. And I also want to understand the direct comparison that I am drawing between. I want you to compare and contrast the state's placement of its light source, because that's what it is. It is not the sun. The state is engaged in the unheard of and absolutely psychopath conduct of literally placing a fake sun that hovers over every location where I am at, in addition to directing light onto the surfaces all around me, everywhere that I am at. That is stalking with light. That is the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. That is what the state is engaged in. Pay attention to my videos when I'm speaking of the light on the surfaces. That is no conduct of that. This is no result of any placement of the sun. It is no result or behavior of light coming from the sun. This is the treatment of light. This is the placement direction of light in conjunction with the location, the crossing of path, the position, the relevant positioning of third parties in my path at the same time. Okay, this is not a coincidence. This is the system in operation. It is not a coincidence that third parties are present in the path while the state is engaging in this light activity. That is how federal group stalking and monitoring works. It is entirely malicious. Understand, I don't know these people's names, and I don't have to. Okay, federal group stalking and monitoring is an entirely malicious system. It is demonic activity. If you are not familiar with this terminology of demonic, you can just interchange that word with malicious, and this is what it is. But understand this treatment with light, it is demonically rooted. And you are being exposed to that which is demonic activity, and it is also highly criminal activity, that of a public entity. And you're seeing it through the shadows that I am taking video of when I am standing in the shade. Okay, so this is the state that is directing light in all manner of directions. Okay, where its own fake sun object is on the opposite side. It's not coming from the state's own fake sun. All right, the state is engaged in directing light in all manners. Understand, this is the multiple shadows on the ground, the movement of light onto the sidewalk, onto the surfaces all around me, inside of the venue. Okay, this is the significance of that. You engage in that when you are monitoring with communication devices. Light activity, the creation of light, the manifestation of light, keeping light wherever the target individual is, i.e. stalking with light, is the first element for monitoring with communication devices, and it is demonic. That is the P.O.C. It is currently 4:53 p.m. Pay attention to the images in the video that accompany this podcast, and also what I drew a direct correlation to is my documentation from December 20th, 2020, yesterday, the state's placement of its fake sun object hovering over me at an entirely different location. It is mutually exclusive. They do not both coexist. This is speaking to the actual sun. There is no argument with regard to this not being the sun. I want to be clear. I am not seeking to prove the fact that it is not the sun. It is not the sun. Okay, this is a scientific fact. The sun is not directly hovering over the Colonies Crossroads Plaza in Upland, California. It is not hovering over Mercy House all day long while I am present. Okay, I am showing how the state is engaged in stalking with light because it is monitoring, in addition to the common sense that the state defies with its own treatment of its light that is supposed to be that which is supposed to be a fake sun. Now, I want to be clear with regard to the malice. It is not only malicious conduct in that you have the state using and acting vicariously through the people of the state of California, people you do not know, and you don't have to know. All they have to do is be present. As you see, all they have to do is drive by, and the state is directing light. That's monitoring conduct as they're crossing path. That's all three elements right there. In addition to that, understand the significance of the system. It is designed to depict the targeted individual as suffering some mental illness. This is intentional. The very design of the system is intentional in every single regard. This is demonic as well. It is an entirely malicious system designed to falsely depict that targeted individual as suffering a mental capacity when documentation reflects that the target individual in no way suffers any mental incapacity whatsoever. It is that which is a reflection of how the state of California, the people acting with that entity, are literal psychopaths, because this is conduct that is highly unnatural. It is highly malicious. It is not unnatural. It is not only unnatural, it is that which is demented. Okay, and this is that which is a group. This is a people. Okay, that are engaging in this conduct. It is not happenstance. The third parties that are crossing path as light is moving all around and circus-like, just ridiculous trickery with this light. They are not ignorant of it. That's my point. This is not just coincidental conduct that happens to be how you monitor. This is a system, and they are aware that their presence is necessary while this light is being positioned over the environment, while light is being positioned onto my person, while light is moving in all manner across the surfaces, while a fake sun is literally hovering over any location where I'm at. This is how the system operates, and they do so with knowledge, okay? It is a criminal partnership, and this is that which is a public entity is intentionally engaging in, and it is also designed to frame the targeted individual alleging such conduct as suffering from mental illness. That is the malicious design of the system. I want to be clear, but it is also P.O.C. because that actually defies common sense. When you are documenting what conduct another person, but in this case an entity, is engaged in, it is in no way a reflection on the person that is literally speaking to, reporting, or exposing what they are experiencing. And documentation also is also how you prosecute any stalker. In this case, you have what is this is unprecedented, a public entity engaging in stalking because it is monitoring an American citizen, and is equally irrelevant under federal law when you are prosecuting an entity monitoring an American citizen. I just want to be clear and point that out. That is all intentional conduct, and it is also that which is unintelligent and unsophisticated. It's not complicated whatsoever what the state is engaged in. It defies common sense. It is absolutely unnatural. It is literally impossible. This is why I have termed it impossible light activity. And I have literally captured it for you to see with your own very eyes. It is currently 4:57 p.m. and that is the P.O.C. (7:17 p.m.) Sirens start right behind me, right behind me is Holt. I'm at third-party facilitating venue, Ontario Town Square. The state is literally flying over my head right now and sounding sirens as it is monitoring me as while I'm creating my podcast for December 21st. The same conduct that I continue to capture on Facebook Live, it's literally sitting around. By it, I mean the state, that's the police using, and the ambulance and the fire, engaging what is criminal misuse of their emergency vehicles for the stalking and criminal monitoring of an American citizen to be addressed under I.I.S. legislation. They are literally engaged in the same pattern of conduct on a ceaseless basis. Right now, they are monitoring what I am doing with regard to my podcast dated December 21st, 2020. It's 7:18 p.m. And that's the same exact P.O.C.